Thank you so much for joining this lesson. Today we shall be discussing a grade 9 mathematics paper, the compass JS2602, 2026. So we're going to the section B of this paper. Remember to subscribe, remember to share so that you may invite a friend to this powerful broadcast. Please be reminded of our serious programs here of every holiday. So reach out to us for our interactive lessons. They are taking place via Google Meet. Yeah. So use the number here. We are offering mathematics, the sciences, and also the languages. Those who are in junior school, your schedule is already there. So please reach out for your registration. Our number is already displayed on the screen, 070415 3366. So let's now get to the paper number 21. The population of a certain county was recorded as 674,82000 during a recent census. Part A, round off the population to the nearest tens of millions. To the nearest tens of millions. So you are supposed to first identify the number that is in the position tens of millions. So this is ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. Then 6 is the digit which is in the position of hundreds of millions, or tens of millions. So when you discover that it is 6 that is in tens of millions, now you ask yourself, what about the previous digit, which is in the position of millions? It is a 7. Can a 7 increase 6? Yes. So 6 becomes 7, and all the other digits now becomes zeros. So it's going to be 70 million. Yeah. Write the population in words. Before rounding off, we write the population in words. So this is going to be 67 million. 67 million millions. 482,000. 482. 82,000. 82,000. That one. Then we have number 22. Determine the value of negative 32 divided by negative 8 plus a negative 22 minus a negative 5. So we start by division before we go to additions and minus, because according to board mass, we're going to start with brackets, and we don't have any operations in the brackets. We don't have off. We have a division. So division, that's where we're starting. Negative 32 divided by negative 8. This becomes positive 4 because the negative will cancel first. So this now is the same as having 4, then plus a negative 22, then minus a negative 5. You know very well, when a negative is multiplied by a plus, we get the negative, but negative followed by negative changes to positive. So now it shall be 4 minus 22 plus 5, giving us exactly a negative 13. So that is the answer in number 22. 23. A farmer harvested maize, beans, wheat, and sorghum. Then the bags of maize were 2 out of 5 of the total, while the bags of beans were half of the bags of maize. A quarter of the remaining bags were wheat, while the rest were sorghum. Part A of the question. What fraction of the harvest was sorghum? So let us distribute these particular fractions to the cereals into which they belong. Maize, 2 out of 5. Maize, 2 over 5. While the bags of beans were half the bags of the maize. So beans shall be half of 2 over 5, which means half times 2 over 5, make it 1 over 5 of the total. That is for beans. And you see now, we can talk about the fraction taken by maize and beans. So maize and beans shall be 2 out of 5 and 1 over 5, giving us 3 out of 5. So 3/5 went to maize and beans, meaning that the remaining fractions shall be 5 minus 3, giving us 2 over 5 fractions. 2 over 5 proportions. You see, if maize and beans take 3 out of 5 together, 3 out of 5 proportions, then it means this particular series have been divided into 5 proportions, 3 of them going to beans and maize, meaning that the remaining ones is only 2, because 3 over 5 has already gone to maize and beans. So now with these particular fractions now, a quarter of the remaining went to wheat. So wheat takes what? Wheat takes a quarter of the remaining. A quarter of the remaining means 2 over 20, which is 1 over 10. So 1 over 10 went to wheat. So now we can talk about maize, beans, and wheat. Maize and beans together was 3 over 5. Then wheat now is 1 over 10. So the 3 series, 3 over 5 and 1 over 10. This is 7 out of 10. If 7 over 10 has gone to beans, maize, and wheat, then it is now the remaining that goes to, the rest goes to sorghum. The remaining, which is now sorghum, this one now takes 10 minus 7, which is 3 out of 10. So the fraction that went to sorghum is 3 over 10. Yeah, 3 out of 10. A very simple question. Part B, if the number of sorghum bags was 420, how many bags of maize were there? So the fraction, the fraction that goes to sorghum is 420 bags. So that is 3 out of 10. So 3 proportions are equivalent to 420. And it was 3 over 10 possible. So 10 shall be what? The total. 420 by 10 over 3. And this shall give us the number of bags. How many bags of maize were there? Okay, let's first check the total bags. 420 by 10 over 3, giving us 1400 bags. This is the total number of bags that had been harvested. Then maize took 2 over 5 of them. So 2 over 5 of the total bags will give us the maize that was harvested. This is 560 bags. 560 bags. Looking at 24 now, a juice vendor has a storage container in the shape of a cube. Now the length of each edge of the container is 3.48 meters. express the length of the container in standard form. You see, this is already starting with one significant figure, then the decimal point, meaning that in standard form, it shall remain the way it is, because to write in standard form requires us to start with only one significant figure, then a decimal point. Since we've not moved to the right or to the left, so that we have only one significant figure starting, then it means we multiply by 10 power 0. In case we had moved to the left, we would have multiplied by a positive integer. In case we had moved to the right to meet the first significant figure, then we would have multiplied by a negative integer. Part B, using a table of cubes, determine the volume of the container. You see, volume of the container equals to one side cubed. You see here cubed times itself 3 times. So cubed. And to cube 3.48, we go to the 4-figure tables, tables of cubes. So you scroll down the tables as you read them very carefully so that you don't interpret from the wrong tables. The tables of, these are squares, check, these are square roots. So you scroll until you meet tables of cubes. Now at the tables of cubes, you read the cube of 3.48. 3.48. So 3.4, this is the row. 3.4, that is the row. Then we check the column that has 8 because it's 3.48. We check the column that has 8. Then now the intersection of 8 is on this column. So this is 42. 42.144. 42.144. This is now meters power 3. So that is the volume by the use of the tables of cubes. Let's look at number 25. Determine the cube root of 3375 by the factor method. The factor method. So to use the factor method means we first factorize this number, 3375. Now to factorize means we start by identifying the least prime factor which is contained in this number, and that is 3. You can see they are not even numbers. So 3375 over 3, we get 1125. Then we continue dividing. What about by 3 again? Divide by 3, I'm getting 375. What about if I divide this by 3 again? I get 125. Then I proceed to 5. By 5, I'm getting 25. Then by 5, I get 5. And by 5, this becomes 1. Therefore, 3375 equals to 3 times 3 times 3. Then 5 by 5 by 5. Meaning that if we are finding the cube root, then we examine every group of 3 similar factors. We pick only one. So when you talk about the cube root of 3375, then it means from these 3 similar roots, we pick only one. And from this other similar, we pick only one. And this takes us to exactly 15. Remember, if it was square root, we would have picked one factor from every pair or from every group of 2. But for cube root, we pick a factor from every group of 3. Number 26. Now, a farmer shared a piece of land among her 3 sons, Alex, Brian, and Caleb, in the ratio 3:5:7, respectively. Caleb received 2.4 hectares more than Alex. How many hectares of land did the 3 sons share all together? So how many total proportions do we have? 3, 5, and 7. Is this 15? Yes. So we have 15 proportions are being shared. Then we're being told that Caleb, this is Alex, Brian, and Caleb. They are receiving in the ratio 3, 5, 7, meaning that, okay, this is respectively. So meaning that Caleb is the one that received 7 proportions. Alex is the one that received 3 proportions. So the difference in their proportions shall also give us the difference in the amounts that they received. So difference between Alex and Caleb is 7 minus 3, which is 4. So these 4 proportions is the one that brought a difference of 2.4 hectares of the land, meaning that you can get the 15 proportions that were being shared. 2.4 by 15 over 4. This gives us exactly 9 hectares of land. So there was 9 hectares of land that was being shared by these 3 sons. Part B. How many more hectares than Alex did Brian receive? Allow me again consider the difference in the proportions. The difference in the proportions. Now we are saying the 15 proportions are equal to 9 hectares of land. Alex and Brian. Alex received 3. Brian received 5. So how many more hectares than Alex did Brian receive? So Brian received 5. Alex received 3. So the difference in their proportions is 2. So what about the 2 proportions, which is the difference in their proportions, the difference in their proportions? So 2 by 9 over 15. 2 by 9 over 15. This gives us 1.2 hectares of land. So Brian received 1.2 hectares than Brian. Brian received 1.2 more than Alex. Then we check now 27. This is a question on. This is a question on indices, index equations. Please, let's consider it. Let's work it out together. We are told to work out the value of x in 2 power 4x divided by 8 power x minus 2 equals to 1 out of 16. The first thing, allow me to change the composite numbers into the least bases. So 2 power 4x divided by, instead of 8, 2 power 3. And we are already having an existing power of x minus 2. Then instead of 1 over 16, we can have a half power 4. At this point, we can apply the product law that says when we have 2 and 4x, you divide by, this should be 2 power. We take the product of the powers, 3x and a negative 6. This is equal to, on the right hand side, allow me apply the negative law of indices that says when you have a reciprocal, we can also obtain the reciprocal of half, which is 2, but the power has to reverse the sign pole. So the power reverses the sign pole and becomes power negative 2. As also, we take the reciprocal of the base. Allow me now talk about the second law of indices that says whenever you have a power m divided by the same base but now with a different power, you just write the base, then m minus n. So this shall be 2 power 4x, but now the powers are supposed to be subtracted. 3x minus 6. You'll be very careful in that subtraction because there are fractions. There is the brackets which you're supposed to open very carefully. This is 2 power negative 4. So you can now equate the powers since the bases are the same. So 4x minus 3x, and this becomes positive 6 equals to negative 4. We are equating the powers, equals to negative 4. So we group terms together. 4x minus 3x becomes x. Negative 4 plus 6 now becomes negative on this side. So negative 4 minus 6 becomes negative 10. So the value of x is negative 10. The value of x is negative 10. Looking at number 28. Number 28, we are told that a water reservoir has a filling tap and a drainage tap or a draining tap. Now, the filling tap can fill the reservoir in 30 minutes, while the draining tap can empty it in 45 minutes. Both taps were opened at the same time when the reservoir was empty. Part A, what fraction of the reservoir was filled after 15 minutes? Now, the first thing that we're supposed to work out here, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that we obtain the working rate of these particular taps. So we have a filling tap, which we can call tap A, then an emptying tap that we may call it tap B. With these two expressions now, A for the filling and B for the emptying, then we can say the first tap A, if it takes 30 minutes to fill, then it means it's filling at a rate of 1 over 30 minutes, 1 over 30 of the tank per minute. I'm going to repeat something that I mentioned a previous time, but when you're given the total time taken, you can get the rate of work by simply taking the reciprocal. If there's some task that you usually work within 2 minutes, it means your working rate is half, 1 over 2 of the work. If you take 3 hours, then you're working at a rate of 1 over 3 because you need 3 hours. Therefore, to get working rate, you need the reciprocal of the total time taken. So let's take tab B. It takes 45 minutes, meaning that per minute it's filling 1 over per minute. Yeah, per minute like that. So when both of them will be working, we will have within 1 minute, the first tap is filling 1 over 30, but the second one is emptying. They are not both filling. If they were both filling, we would have added their rates. But now, as one is filling, the other one is emptying. So we subtract so that we know the absolute portion that shall be filled within exactly 1 minute. So it's per minute. So 1 out of 30 minus 1 out of 45, giving us 1 over 90. 1 over 90. So in 1 minute, per minute, both of them are filling 1 out of 90 of the tank. 1 over 90 of the tank. That is in 1 minute, meaning that after 15 minutes, they shall fill 15 minutes times 1 over 90, because in every minute, they are filling, in every minute they are filling 1 over 90. So for 15 minutes consecutively, they shall fill 1 over 6. Then look at part B. How long did it take for the reservoir to become full? So we are saying that in part B now, per minute, These two taps are filling 1/90 of the tank. This is their working rate. Now with working rate, you can get the total time needed to fill. Total time needed to fill shall be reciprocal of the rate, 90 minutes. So when both of them are working, they need 90 minutes to completely fill. If in 1 minute they fill 1/90 of the tank, then these two taps require 90 minutes to completely fill. Then we ask ourselves, what about half the tank? Then to fill half the tank now, they need 90 divided by 2. They need 45 minutes. So that when they work for another 45, they fill the remaining half and the tank shall be full. Yeah, the tank shall be full. Number 29, use substitution method to work out the values of x and y in the simultaneous equation 4x plus 2y equals to 16, then 5x minus 4y equals to negative 32. It's good for you to know that a substitution method is one of the easiest. We can let the equations to be 1 and 2, so that we say from equation 1. From equation 1, from equation 1, let us say we need to express the value of y. You see, 2y equals to 16 minus 4x, because when 4x is taken to the right-hand side, it shall become negative. The value of y shall be, we have to divide through. We divide through by 2. If 2y equals to what we have on the right-hand side, then to remain with y, we divide by 2, both sides, and you divide through exactly. You get 8 minus 2x. This is from equation 1. Then equation 2 can now be expressed. Equation 2 becomes 5x minus 4, and instead of y, we now substitute with what we expressed from equation 1. I hope we are together now in that step. You first express, then you replace in the other equation. If we have expressed y from equation 1, we replace y in equation 2. So that's why now I've expressed equation 2. This is 5x minus 32, positive 8x equals to negative 32. This is going to be 13x, then negative 32 plus 32. That one becomes a 0. Negative 32, negative 32. When you bring them to the same side, they cancel out. We divide through by x, you will get a 0. 0/13, get a 0. So that the value of y now becomes 8 minus 2 into 0. So 8 minus 0, this is 8. So the value of y equals to 8. The value of x equals to 0. Those are the values of the unknowns according to the equations that we have. Now, in number 30, and those who are joining us late, it's my hope that you are informed about our programs here for junior school. Our programs are impactful, interactive, and transformative. These are happening via Google Meet over every holiday. So any holiday, you are free to reach out for our serious programs. We have a serious team of tutors, and we are going to expose you in mathematics, in the languages, and also in integrated science. Yeah, so please remember to reach out for our programs. That is for the month of August, and that is for the month of April, and also the month of December and November, of course. Now, for the month of August, you know that is the last holiday for our candidates. We have examiner sessions. Therefore, you will not be taught by ordinary teachers. We are going to subject you to NEC examiners who shall take you through every details in the specific learning areas. So please book a date with us. Consult more about our programs. You cannot join shifting grades and regret. So please reach out so that we may help one another. Number 30, during a community health forum, there were 5 X-men, 3 Y women, and 180 youths. Now, the number of men was 90 fewer than the number of women. Altogether, 750 people attended the forum. Part A, find the values of X and Y. Now, this is information that is going to lead us to the formation of simultaneous equations, and you will allow me use even the space in the previous question so that we expose it very well. We expose all the details about number 30, and it's my hope that you guys shall understand. Remember, these are word problems. These are word problems. Anytime that you're reading word problems, you're supposed to be very careful. If possible, you can even underline some statements. So in this community health forum, there were 5 X-men and 3 Y women. Then the youths were 180. The number of men was 90 fewer than the number of women. It means the women were more than the men by 90. If men are 90 fewer, then women are 90 more. When you pick the number of women, 3Y, and you subtract the number of men, 5X, you're supposed to get 90. So the difference between men and women is 90, and it is the women that are more. So 3Y minus 5X equals to 90. Then the next statement, we also told that altogether 700 people attended. So 700 people attended means when we pick 5X, and we also add 3Y, and we also add 180, which is the number of youths, we should get 750. So 3Y plus 5X equals to, we take 750 and we subtract 180. This is 570. So the second equation is 3Y plus 5X equals to 570. So we have equation 1, we have equation 2. Now it is easier for us to solve the 2 equations using what we call elimination method. Elimination method because the coefficients of Y are already equal. Therefore, subtracting to eliminate Y becomes very easy. So we subtract corresponding terms. When I say corresponding terms, I mean we pick 3Y minus 3Y, that becomes a 0, minus 5X minus 5X becomes minus 10X. This is equal to 90 minus 570. And this is negative 480. So that if I am to remain with X, then I'm supposed to divide through by negative 10. The negatives will cancel. 480 divided by 10 becomes 48. So you see, the value of X is 48. What about the value of Y? We substitute in any of the equations. The first equation, 3Y minus 5X is 48 equals to 90. So we talk about 3Y being equal to 90 plus, you see 5 by 48 is 240. So when we take it to the right, it becomes positive. 3Y equals to 90 plus 240, giving us 330. So the value of Y now shall be, you divide through by 3. This becomes 110. Yeah? So the value of Y is 110. The value of X is 48. Then part B, how many men attended the forum? So men were 5X. Men were 5 times X, which is 240. So we have 240 men that attended this particular Community Health Forum. A very good question. We can now focus in number 31. Now, given that b equals to 4s squared plus half s, determine a quarter s, sorry, determine the value of d when the value of s equals to 2. So how do we get the value of d? 4 into s squared plus a quarter into s, which is 2. So this shall be, 2 squared becomes 4. So 4 times 4, that is 16, plus a quarter by 2. The 2 cancels and we have half. We have half. So this now shall be 16 and half. Or you can write it as 16.5. Yeah, 16.5 or 16 and half. 16 and half. Number 32, ladies and gentlemen. Number 32. A playground is in the shape of a trapezium, and its parallel sides are measuring 18 and 30 meters. Now, the perpendicular distance between the parallel sides is 12. 12 meters. Calculate the area of the playground in hectares. Look at this. Area in a trapezium shape is usually given by half, then a plus b multiplied by h. When we talk about a plus b, we mean the sum of the two parallel sides. So this shall be half into 18 plus 30, then multiplied by, those are the parallel sides, multiplied by the height between them, which is 12 meters. This is a half multiplied by 48 multiplied by 12. So half times 48 times 12. This gives us 288 meters squared. That is the area of this particular plot. Then to convert, we know that 10,000 meters squared are equivalent to 1 hectare of land. What about 288 meters squared? 1 by 288 out of 10,000. This is equal to, when you divide by 10,000, you get 0.0288 hectares. Like that. 0.0288 hectares of land. So that is the size of the land. Number 33. Jaden drew a sector of a circle shown below. So you can see the sector. There is a certain angle there, which is 120. Then this is the instruction that we're given. If the sector has an area of 1205.76 square centimeters, determine its radius. The radius is not given, but we're supposed to know that this is a major sector. We are not concerned with the smaller sector that was extracted here. That is a minor sector. We need the major sector, which is displayed here. Area in a sector is usually given by theta out of 360 pi r squared. So let's talk about area, which is already given, 1205.76 equals to the angle at the center. Now we talk about this one. Angles at a point add up to 360, and we are already having 120 on the minor sector that was extracted. So here we talk about 240. So it shall be 240 over 360 pi 3.142 times radius that is unknown squared. So radius squared there. That computation should give us the answer that you have. I want to give you a simpler way of approaching this. You have your calculator, so you type 12,000 5.76 equals to 240 over 360 times 3.142. That gives us 2.095 r squared. How do you remain with r squared? By dividing by 2.095 throughout. So 1205.76 divide by 2.095. This becomes 575.63. 575.63. So that radius now becomes, you take square root of both sides. If radius squared gives us 575.6, then the radius itself shall be the square root of what we are having here, 23.99 centimeters. So that is the radius. Yeah, that is the radius. Then look at part B of the same question. Work out the arc length of the sector. Work out the arc length of the sector. So arc length means simply this part from point A through B to point C. A through B to C, that is the arc. Not perimeter of the whole shape. The arc length. So arc is that part of a circle. Arc length is usually given by the angle at the center of a 360 to pi r. Therefore, the arc length shall be 240 over 360 multiplied by 2 multiplied by pi 3.142 times a radius of 23.99. Yeah, d over 360, 2 pi r, that way. So 240 over 360 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3.142 multiplied by 23.99. This gives us exactly 100.5. 100.5 centimeters. It's a length. 100.5, yeah, centimeters of length. That is it. Are we together in number 34 now? Let's check 34. Now, the figure below represents a pipe. It's good for you to know the application of a pipe. A pipe is a cylinder which is open on both ends. Therefore, that's a pipe. Actually, they didn't draw, yeah, the other side there. It's open, not closed to one end. Therefore, if a pipe is in the shape of a cylinder, which is open on both ends, then it means when you open, like in part A, draw an accurate net of the pipe. Drawing an accurate length means now discovering first that to come up with a net of a cylindrical shape, you just have to, you cut it along the length and you get a rectangular shape. After getting the rectangular shape, one thing that you're supposed to know is that when you open it up, we shall have our length of 5 here, centimeters. But now the width here, the width that we get here shall be equal to pi d. Width here equals to the circumference, which is pi d. Because when you open the circular solid, which is hollow, this circular part here, the whole of this circumference becomes now our width. Therefore, our width shall be pi d, 22 over 7 times a diameter of 1.4. This gives us 4.4 centimeters. Therefore, now we draw it now, the actual net. When you're told actual, it means you are drawing using the actual measurements. Not estimations, So we have From 0 all the way to 5. So 0 to 5, that is 5 centimeters. Then now, perpendicularly, we drop 4.4. So perpendicularly, we have 4.4. This is where 4.4 shall be. And also on the other side, we drop 4.4. 4.4. So with 4.4, you can draw your other parallel line to the rectangle. Then you drop now. Like that. So this is 4.4 centimeters. And up there we have 5 centimeters. So the net of an open cylinder is a rectangle because we are just interested on the curved part alone. When you fold a rectangular net, you will get a cylindrical solid. That is what you're supposed to know. So from there now we are told to find the total surface area of the pipe from the net. So from the net has already become rectangular. Remember, surface area for the curved part of a cylinder, we talk about pi d multiplied by h. But now it has already been opened into a rectangle. Therefore, we follow the formula of a rectangle, which is length times width. Remember, we are not adding anything to the curved surface. We're not adding anything. This is 22. The reason why we are not adding anything is because the cylinder was not closed on any side. Being a pipe, it is not closed on any end. It is not. It is not closed on any end. That way. We're checking number 35. Now we can draw a square inside a circle such that all the 4 vertices of the square lie on the circumference of the circle. Just as you can see the diagram, the diameter of the circle is 14. Take pi as 22/7. Then determine the area of the shaded part. We need the area of the square. Okay, we need the area of the circle that is not inside the square. So we need circle minus square, the shaded part. Circle minus square. So for the circle, let's talk about pi r squared minus the square side squared. One side squared. Side times side gives us area of the square. Then let's also consider these. We consider that the sides of the square have not been given. So if we let them to be x and x, then we should be able to get them by saying x squared, Pythagoras theorem, plus x squared should give us 14 squared. So 2x squared equals 2. When we square 14, ladies and gentlemen, get 196. So can we talk about x squared being equal to, you divide through by 2, and this is 98. So the value of x becomes the square root, which is 9.899 centimeters. If we have that, then we can proceed now to work the shaded area. So the shaded area shall be, we talk about the circle first. Circle becomes, the diameter was 14, so the radius is 7. Radius is half of diameter. So we are talking about pi 22/7, radius 7 squared times 7. This is 154 centimeters squared. Then for the square, that was the circle. For the square, we need 9.899. 899 times itself, which means just squared. We get exactly 98. Remember, this is a square root of 98. So when we square it in the process of finding, area, it should become 98. That is when you square the exact thing. Are we now able to talk about the shaded part, which needs 154 minus 98, and this is exactly 56. 56 square centimeters. So that is the shaded area of the circle, which is not inside the square. Number 36, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Maria bought a motorbike for 200,000 Kenya shillings. Then the value of the motorbike depreciates at 8% per annum. Calculate the value of the motorbike after 2 years. After 2 years. So when we talk about depreciation, it means this is 200,000. Let me check the other way. Times a rate of 8%. That is the value at which it depreciates. 200,000 times 8%. This gives us 16,000. So it depreciated by 16,000. After depreciating by 16,000 after 1 year, the new value shall be 200,000 minus 16,000. Now this becomes 184,000. That is the new value after exactly 1 year. It shall again depreciate by the same rate, 8%. So it depreciates by what? 8%. That gives us a rate of 14,720. Meaning that the new value now at the end of 2 years shall be, it was 184,000. We subtract 14,720, and this value, the value becomes 184,000. We subtract this depreciated value, we get 169,280 Kenya shillings. So that is going to be the value of the car, the value of the motorbike after 2 years. We are being told that in part B, if she sold the motorbike after 3 years, calculate a percentage loss. So we say, we have the price or the value after 2 years. What about at the 3rd year? How much will it be costing? It is 169, which is the value after 2 years. In the 3rd year, it depreciates by 8%. So this gives us 13,542 and 40 cents, like that. So means that by the end of the 3rd year, it shall be 169,280 minus 13,542.4. So the price it add 169,280. We subtract, I'm getting 155,737.60. This is the amount the car shall cost, or the motorcycle, the motorbike shall cost after 3 years. Then now, she decided now to make a sale. This is Maria. She decided to sell it. So the loss shall be buying price minus the selling price, because this is the selling price. This is the price of the motorcycle. Therefore, the loss shall be 44,262.4. That is the loss he has incurred. But now we need percentage loss. Percentage loss is given by loss over buying price expressed as a percentage. So we multiply by 100 over 200,000. This gives us 22.13%. So that is the percentage loss that Maria incurred. What you're supposed to know is that you can even be asked about the value of the motorcycle after 5 years, after 4 years. So you're supposed to know how you should flow with the question. After 1 year, it depreciated by a certain amount. The new value became this. After second year, it depreciated by this amount. The new value became this value. Until the year that the examiner is interested in, you are supposed to be very careful in such a case. And the questions are very simple. So now we're looking at number 37, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, number 37. Let's check that. In number 37, we are told that the higher purchase price of a washing machine consists of a deposit 24,000 and 6 equal monthly installments of 6,000. I hope that is 6,000 each. Determine the higher purchase price of the washing machine. You know, higher purchase price is usually given by deposit plus total installments. So we shall talk about a 24,000 deposit and 6 equal monthly installments, 6,000 each. So this shall be 24,000 plus 36,000. This is equal to 24 plus 36. Is it 60? You may confirm 60,000. Therefore, the higher purchase price costs 60,000. Now, the higher purchase price is 25% more than the marked price. Find the marked price. If it is 25% more, remember, the marked price is always 100%. Therefore, 125% equals to 60,000. What about 100%, the marked price? 125 because higher purchase contains the marked price plus what you call the carrying charge, the amount you are charged by being allowed to carry the item to your home before you make full payments. So 60,000 by 100 out of 125, and this gives us, so 60,000 by 100 out of 125, this gives us 48,000. So the cash price, or rather the marked price, would have been 48,000. But when you opt to go for higher purchase price, you will end up paying 60,000 according to the plan that the dealer is having in this question. Looking at part C of the same question. Now, if the washing machine was bought on cash, a discount of 10% was allowed. How much would one pay in cash? So in cash, you'll be told, we will not charge you 48,000. We are going to give a 10% discount. So what would one pay? Being given a 10% discount means that you shall only pay 90% of the cost price. In Kenya shillings, this shall be equivalent to 43,200. Again, we're supposed to know that this can be done in an alternative way. What is 10% of 48,000? That becomes the discount. The discount is equal to Is it 4800? That is the discount itself. 10% of the cash price that becomes discount. Meaning that for you to know that the buying price of a certain customer now, they will pay 48,000 minus 4800. 48,000 minus 4800. This gives us 43,200. So the question can be approached in either of those alternatives. 38, it's a question on geometry. In the space provided, construct a regular hexagon PQRSTU with each side measuring 3 centimeters. This is a very good question. You're supposed to know that when you are constructing regular hexagons, the first thing, okay, regular polygon, it can be any polygons. It can be any polygon, but now this is a specific question. We are dealing with an hexagon. Hexagon is 6-sided. The first thing you're supposed to identify is the number of sides according to the name. How many sides are making this particular polygon? There are 6 of them, 6-sided figure. Then after this, you're supposed to ask yourself, what is the sum of interior angles? You know, sum of interior angles is given by 180 into n minus 2. N is the number of sides. So 180 into 6 minus 2 gives us 180 by 4, which is 720 degrees. So we have 720 degrees making up this particular polygon. 720 interior degrees in the interior angles. So we say they are measuring 720 and there are 6 of them. You know, the number of angles is usually equal to the sides making up. We start with a triangle, for example. Triangle 3-sided, 3 angles. Or the quadrilaterals, the 4-sided figures, there are 4 interior angles. 5-sided figure, 5 interior angles. Therefore, an hexagon has 6 sides and also 6 angles. So the 6 interior angles, each will measure 720 out of 6 because it's a regular one. They are all equal and 20 degrees. So we need now 120 degrees interior angle and side. Our objective was to get the size of each. The size of each interior angle is 120. Now that we've known that, we can proceed to construct this particular polygon. The first thing that you're supposed to do, I can see the spacing is enough. So you construct the first line. It's good to start with the baselines. A first line. Then on this line, you mark point P. Then you measure 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters that you are guided to point Q. 3 centimeters, that is point Q. Now, standing at point Q, you are supposed to measure 120 on the inner side. You measure 120 and you produce a line. You measure 120, you produce a line there. You produce a line like that. Then along this line, you also measure 3. You also measure 3 centimeters again. 3 centimeters, the mark is there. You measure 3 centimeters like that. And after measuring 3 centimeters, now that becomes point R. PQR. Then you measure again 120. On that point where you've marked your 3 centimeter, you produce 120. An angle of 120. You produce that angle of 120. Then along that line where you've measured your angle of 120, you measure 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters. After R, we go to S, 3 centimeters, just like that. Then from point P, you can also measure 120 on the inner side. The lines can just meet at some point. Can be moving from P, you measure 120. You produce the line. Let me see. Yeah, you produce a line like that. Then along this line, measure your 3 centimeters. You continue with this trend. The third becomes what? Letter U. Yeah. So at U, you can also measure 120. At point U, you measure 120. So let me produce 120 at that point. Oh, 120. Like that. After measuring 120 on the inner side, you're supposed to measure the line to be exactly 3. So we are following line segments like that. After S, or between S and Q, we have T there. So now you join T and S using just a straight line. Now there you don't have to measure anything. It will automatically become our hexagon of interest. With our hexagon like that, you can just indicate that this is 120. This is 120. Their degrees, 120, all of them. We've measured so accurately. And the lengths have also been measured so accurately. $120, yeah, like that. Just like that. So we have 120. The sides are 3 centimeters each. A very good diagram. Very good diagram. So we can check number 39, ladies and gentlemen. The equation of a straight line is 2y plus x equals to 7. Complete the table below of the values of the line. So we are going to be guided by the equation of the line to find the values of y, missing values of y, some other times missing values of x. So purely, we use what you call substitution. So you're supposed to be very good in substitution for you to be able to find values of x when given the values of y, and for you also to be very good in finding the values of y when given the values of x. So we substitute values of x to get values of y. So the first gap, x equals to -1. So 2y plus a -1 instead of x equals to 7. 2y equals to, the -1 should be added on the right-hand side. And y becomes 4. When you divide through by 2, you get 4 here. So you fill the table like that. The next one is when the value of x is 1. So 2y plus x is 1 equals to 7. 2y, 1 should be subtracted now, not added. 6, divide through by 2, y becomes 3. So this is exactly 3. We check at x equals to 3. It shall be 2y plus the value of y is, this is equal to 7. So 2y equals 2. You subtract 3, you get 4. So that you say the value of y equals 2. When you divide through by 2, you get 2. So this is exactly 2. Then finally, we can check the value of x when y is given as 1. So when the value of y is 1, you say 2 times 1 plus x equals to 7. So that 2 times 1 is 2. To remain with x, it is 7 minus 2, which is 5. You feed your 5 there. So that is called substitution. You must be very good in substituting for you to find unknown values of lines, for you to fill and get the coordinates in line. Now use the values above to draw the line. Let's check. Draw the line. Let me check. I want to draw the Cartesian plane. That. The x-axis, the y-axis. So every square here shall be 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -1, -2, -3, -4, like that. So we have values of x and values of y. Plotting coordinates, ladies and gentlemen. Plotting coordinates. We are plotting coordinates. So here, we're talking about the first coordinate, -1, 4. So -1 on the x and 4 on the y. This is where they intersect. Then 1 and 3. 1 on the x and 3 on the y. Like that. Then 3, 2. So 3 on the x and 2. Let's check 5 and 1. So 5 on the x and 1 on the y. That is the coordinate. Let me plot it well. Like that. Then now, to draw the line, you will allow me just change the color of my ink so that everything becomes very visible. Yeah, so I join the dots using a very straight line so that I complete the graph now. Yes, that is now. That is it. Have the straight line perfectly drawn. The number 40, which is our last question, I think, yeah. The pie chart below represents how a farmer subdivided his farm. You can see for goats, it's 90 degrees. That signpost is for 90 degrees. You're supposed to be very conversant with mathematical signposts. 90 degrees. Chicken, 60. Sheep, 120. How many degrees represent the cattle? Remember, at the center of the circle, all the angles should add up to 360. So 360 minus the ones that we have, 60, because it is the only remaining thing, 120 and 90. So 360 minus the addition of all this, 60, 120, 90. This gives us exactly 270. So that the angle that represents cattle becomes 360 minus 270, which is exactly 90. So cattle is also 90. Yeah, like that. Exactly that way. Let us check part B of the same question. Now we are told if there were 15, look at that. If there were 15 more sheep than goats, 15 more sheep than goats, how many more cattle than chicken were in the farm? In other words, it's like we are going now to find the number of all the cattle. Yeah. If there were more sheep, 15 more sheep than goats. 15 more sheep than goats. So 90 related to 120. You see, 120 exceeds 90 by 30. The difference between 120 and 90 is 30 degrees. So the difference of 30 degrees brings about 15 in number. We are dealing with proportions here. The degrees are proportional to the numbers. So if a difference of 30 degrees brings about a difference of 15 animals, then how many more cattle than chicken were in the farm? Cattle were 90, chicken 60. Again, you can see cattle is 90 and chicken is 60. There is also a difference of 30. That is very wonderful. Difference of that. So 15 by 30 out of 30, giving us 15. Yeah. You know, sheep are ahead of goats by 30 degrees, and that represents 15 animals. And again, cattle and chicken. Cattle are ahead of chicken also by 30 degrees. That means proportionally, 30 degrees, which is the difference between cattle and chicken, shall also be 15 animals. So we have 15 more cows than chicken. 15 more cows than chicken. A very good question and generally a very good paper. Remember our programs. Our number is already on the poster on your bottom right, 0704 15 3366. Join us for our programs, mathematics, the sciences, and the languages. But over the August holiday, I continue repeating, over the August holiday, we shall have very interactive one-on-one classes with NEC examiners, senior examiners for that matter, people who shall take you through every learning area and every paper that you undertake. So please join Shifting Grades Online School. Thank you.